Marvel Avengers loses millions, sales lower than expected. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know. Is this what they were doing with comics they're going to start doing with video games now? I understand there was Gamergate. I understand they don't want sexy Lara Croft characters anymore if they can avoid it. I get that. But how is it possible? How is it possible that you get the license to do the Avengers from Disney, obviously pay them God knows how much money, $10 million, $20 million for the rights to be able to do a massive game like this. And then the likenesses are bad. Black Widow doesn't look pretty. The gameplay is screwed up. And it's not like the video game company was just like, oh, I know, I'll just make some video games. I've seen crowdfunded comics that come out better from people that don't know at all what they're doing. And then I've seen some amazing crowdfunded comics that are way, way better than what the mainstream is doing. But this I don't really understand. But this is an article coming from Cosmic Book News. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. It's a huge help to me, and it keeps these stories coming out. So let's get into the article. Things are so bad for the Marvel's Avengers video game that it has lost millions of dollars as sales are lower than expected. Now, when you put money into making a video game like this, they could spend a tremendous amount of money, right? $50 million, $100 million, $200 million doing an incredible game, right? So it's possible it could lose money, even if the game is ultimately going to do kind of okay or even do very well, like a movie, right? You make a movie, you spend $200 million making it. Not you and maybe not me, but somebody's doing that, right? So they spend $200 million. They maybe spend another $100 million marketing it, maybe $200 million marketing it. And then, it takes a while for them to make the money back. But with a game, I don't know. I mean, so if it's not going to have success right away, if people are going to start playing it, but then they're going to drop out and they're going to lose interest, how is that going to work? So 96% of players have stopped playing Avengers. 96% of the people that started stopped playing Avengers. It's reported that Marvel's Avengers has yet to recoup its development costs. That I don't have a problem with. But I do have a problem with if 96% of the people who were playing it are going to stop playing it. That ain't good, especially because you have to wonder, all right, I know sometimes I stay logged into things. I walk away from. Sometimes it's accidental. I'm still logged into something. Sometimes it's intentional. It's like, well, what do I care? So I have a couple browser windows open, whatever. You don't pay attention that you're even still logged in. I would think that 4% of the people that would be playing wouldn't even be paying attention to it, that would still be logged in. So who's engaged in the game? Not a lot of people left. It's reported that Marvel's Avengers has yet to recoup its development costs. Okay, well, we're not worried about that, which has led to an estimated $67 million operating loss in the fourth quarter for the company Square Enix. And if you guys follow my channel, if you know me a little bit, I'm fascinated by financial stuff. I love entertainment business stuff. But this is not good, a $67 million operating loss in the fourth quarter. It's not like a Square Enix, if they're running games and now because of the pandemic, everybody's home all the time, why are they losing money? It's not like they're running restaurants or outdoor theme parks. It's also known Square Enix lost around $50 million in the third quarter, which is when Marvel Avengers was released. So that's a huge $117 million loss for the company in only 6 months. How do these entertainment companies lose all these tens of millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars and just keep going? I don't know the answer to that question, except that obviously their money is not like normal people's money. They get to lose as much money as they feel is necessary. So Square Enix, that's not even a good company name. Square Enix president Yosuke Matsuda confirms sales for Marvel Avengers are lower than expected. Sales of Marvel's Avengers were lower than expected, he says, and unable to completely offset the amortization of the game's development costs. Well, I mean, you're not going to expect in month 1 or 2 or even month 6 that you're going to necessarily generate enough revenue to pay off, $100 million or whatever in development costs. But that's not what's going on. It's not that it's not recouping all its development costs yet. It's that 96% of the people who got involved in this game, who started playing this game, were like, hey, it's the Avengers. And they're like, yeah, this is terrible. We don't want to play it. Even Hulk is mad. Hulk is like, how could you have this financial performance? Hulk does not approve. If you have stock in Square Enix, or if the stock is down and you're thinking, oh man, maybe I could invest money in Square Enix and make triple back my money, you'd be better off not doing that. Don't. That's not good. This is not a way to run a business. This thing I don't understand about this game is, how did this even get approved by Marvel? Has Marvel's assistant editors taken over their licensing department? How does it even exist? We don't know. It gets even worse as the president of Square Enix also lets it be known that if Marvel's Avengers hadn't been released, the company would have made money. Okay, so they're losing money on Avengers, and money they otherwise would have made, they are now losing. Why? Because they decide to do an Avengers game? How do you lose money on an Avengers? This is how, because they decided to feature Ms. Marvel with the crazy fists, but don't you guys think that if you look at this art and you think to yourself, look, I've been a Marvel's fan for way back, from since I was a kid. So you don't have to make a great-looking Spider-Man or great-looking Marvel characters for me to buy a Marvel product back when I was a kid. Now I don't like what they've done with Marvel. But, I mean, come on. If the Hulk looked like this, that's fine. But come on. That's Captain America, Black Widow. Black Widow is your sexy character. Why does Black Widow not look sexy? Unforgivable. Even in the movie, she's sexy. So why would she not be sexy in the game? The mysteries that we could never know. So the brilliant CEO also says this. In addition to the amortization of the game's development costs, another significant factor associated with the title was the fact that we undertook a major advertising campaign at the time of its launch to make up for delays in our marketing efforts resulting from the pandemic. What do you mean delays, though, in your marketing efforts? And then even if you had marketing efforts and they were delayed, were they going to be free marketing efforts? I mean, that doesn't really make sense. So if you have a budgeted plan for a marketing effort and it's 3 months later because, everybody's freaking out, everybody doesn't know what's going on with the pandemic, all right, fine. But then you wouldn't have spent the money, right? So what is it with that excuse? There's a certain amount of development costs still to be amortized in third quarter, but we want to recoup it by growing our sales going forward. Now, this is just another thing too. It's just funny. I accidentally said this the other day, but you don't fight a dead horse. What do I mean by fight a dead horse? What I mean by don't fight a dead horse is, no, you're not going to make it up down the line if the launch is terrible. If the launch is not good, stop. You can't keep fighting a dead horse. You will beat the dead horse, but all it is a dead horse. If that makes sense to you, you should see a professional. Now, you get what my point is. My point is obviously releasing new content is not going to make up for the lost sales. Why? Because the 96% of the people that lost interest in this game are not going to come back and say, oh, now I'm interested in the game. You put a new shirt on Ms. Marvel. Oh, maybe they'll put Captain Marvel in it. We hope they're not going to make up for the slow sales. Why would you even say that? Just say, look, we screwed up. We're giving the license back. We're not going to continue to put resources into it. Fans just don't like Marvel's Avengers. They like Marvel's Avengers, even the Avengers film, the Avengers property, still very strong, but not this game. It's no surprise that Marvel's Avengers has performed really badly amongst fans. From the get-go, the game's art and storyline have been questioned, as Square Enix was forced to delay the game in an attempt to fix the art, but unfortunately Square Enix didn't change the storyline, which sees the Avengers as failures and replaced by a politically correct character no one cares about, Ms. Marvel. I mean, to think that, hijacking the comics, they got away with hijacking the comics. That they did. No one could really do much. The sales went down. People complained. But if you want to buy their screwy hijack comics, if you don't want to buy them, don't buy them. They'll say, oh, well, we don't care that you don't buy them. We'll just, whatever, keep making them, and they weren't made for you and whatever. But this is how bad the Avengers is. So this is another follow-up from Cosmic Book News. Marvel's Avengers removed from Spider-Man video game. So, Spider-Man was nothing to do with Marvel's Avengers. I like that white logo on Spider-Man's chest, by the way. I think that's pretty cool. But Marvel's Spider-Man game had a reference to the Avengers, and now Marvel's Spider-Man game has permanently been updated. And like, well, I don't think we really want to get too associated with the Avengers. Things continue to look really bad for Marvel's Avengers, as it is now learned that an apparent reference to the video game has been removed from the remastered version of the Spider-Man video game. That's how you know it's bad, right? That's how you know it's like, wait a minute, what do you? It's that bad. They don't want you saying oh, Spider-Man, Avengers. They don't want the connection made. The original PS4 Spider-Man video game sees Spidey make mention that the Avengers aren't around. They're on the West Coast as Marvel's Avengers video game kicks off with the Avengers in San Francisco. Spidey says, Avengers Tower, so cool. Too bad they're never around to use it. They're on the West Coast or something, probably surfing. Now with the release of the remastered Spider-Man PS4 game that comes out with the PS5 Miles Morales game, the reference has been cut, as pointed out by Greg Miller on Twitter. See, this is good journalism. In what Cosmic Book News is doing, I'm obviously just sort of reading the story and commenting on it. Interesting. Spider-Man 2018 originally referenced the Avengers being on the West Coast in this scene. This year, the Avengers game, so the team based in San Francisco. Okay, so now it's no longer mentioned, and Greg Miller caught that. And if you want to support my work, check out The Mermaids. It's my new full-color 48-page comic book. It's called The Mermaids. It's an epic mermaid fantasy. It's like Game of Thrones with mermaids. Full color. It's a new ongoing series. It's completely done. It's just available for pre-order on Indiegogo right now, and it's going to be shipping April 2021 wherever you are in the world. You can check out the link. You'll see there are color pages. You can see the color covers. You can see the making of book, which is another 100-page book. It shows you the full script to the Mermaids and all the layouts or how he made the book in the first place, and additional character designs. Tremendous amount of work that went into this one. And also you can see all the paragraphs of descriptions of all the characters. It's really an enormous project. So go ahead and check that out and link in the description below. And I will see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.